Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to picture this scenario for a moment. You are sitting on your sofa.
Right.
It's a quiet Tuesday evening. You've got a cup of tea in one hand, maybe your smartphone in the other.
Just a totally normal night.
Exactly. You are mindlessly scrolling, maybe paying a utility bill or checking an email from, well, what looks like your bank.
Yeah.
You tap a link, you enter a code, and in that silent, mundane fraction of a second, your life savings simply vanish.
Oh, well, yeah.
There is no shattered glass. There's no masked intruder kicking down your front door.
No dramatic movie scene.
Right. There is no adrenaline-pumping chase down a dark alleyway where you can point and scream for the police. The robbery is entirely silent.
Completely silent.
It's sterile. It happens in the microscopic space of a pixelated screen, and it introduces an entirely new, paradigm of victimization.
You know, that silence is actually the most dangerous weapon in the attacker's arsenal.
Really? The silence.
Absolutely. Because, in the physical world, an attack triggers our biological alarm systems.
Right, the fight or flight thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fight or flight response kicks in immediately because the threat is tangible. You know exactly what just happened, where it happened, and what is missing.
Yeah, if someone grabs my wallet, I know it's gone.
But in the digital realm, that lack of physical cues completely bypasses our natural defenses. The cognitive dissonance is staggering.
I can imagine.
You are safe in your living room, yet you have just been violently robbed.
Which brings us to our mission for today. Welcome to this deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we are immersing ourselves in a truly critical stack of research and protocols. And it's centered entirely around surviving this modern nightmare.
It's so necessary right now.
It really is. We are drawing from a comprehensive step-by-step framework titled Day 28 Cybercrime Reporting Complete Guide.
A fantastic resource.
And our primary objective for you listening right now is a complete transformation. We want to take you from being a potential victim, someone who might just freeze up in the silent panic of a digital theft.
Which is super common, by the way.
Right. We want to forge you into a fast-acting, highly effective digital first responder.
Framing you as a first responder is vital here.
How so?
Well, consider a medical emergency. If someone collapses, you don't just sit there marveling at the tragedy.
You do something.
Right. You initiate protocols. You check for a pulse. You start compressions. Maybe you apply a tourniquet.
Yeah.
The material we are analyzing today serves as the strict, unyielding emergency medical protocol for your financial life.
Okay, because I want to be very clear about what we are doing today. This is not a theoretical, high-level debate about international espionage or anonymous hackers in hoodies typing green code in a basement. No, not at all. We are treating this as a practical, real-world fire drill. We are building muscle memory so that if the worst happens, you don't scramble, you reach for the correct lever immediately.
And to build that muscle memory, we first have to accept the fundamental law governing this entire landscape.
Okay, lay it on us.
It's the bedrock of every protocol we will discuss. Cybercrime fundamentally is not a technical puzzle you need to solve. It is a time battle.
Wait, let me stop you there because that feels counterintuitive.
How so?
Well, we're constantly told that the internet is forever, right? We hear about blockchain ledgers being immutable, IP addresses being logged, and digital footprints lasting a lifetime.
Sure, people say that all the time.
So if the data is permanent, why is time the ultimate enemy? Shouldn't investigators just be able to follow the digital breadcrumbs like 3 weeks later?
I see the logic in that assumption. I really do.
Yeah.
But it fatally misinterprets how digital finance operates on a practical level.
Okay.
Yes, digital ledgers exist, but the complexity and jurisdiction of those ledgers are weaponized against you.
Weaponized.
Exactly. The research explicitly establishes a rule we must treat as gospel here. Delay equals loss.
Delay equals loss.
Yes. Even a delay of 1 to 2 hours can be the absolute deciding factor between recovering your funds and watching them disappear permanently.
Just 1 to 2 hours? Wow. That is an aggressively tight timeline.
Extremely tight.
I mean, if my internet goes down or my cable bill is incorrect, I might wait 3 weeks to call customer service because I just don't feel like sitting on hold.
We all do that.
Right. But you are saying a 1-hour delay here is a terminal event for my bank account.
What's fascinating here is that we have to look at the mechanical reality of what happens the millisecond the school. The money leaves your control.
Okay, walk me through it.
The stolen funds do not sit in the attacker's primary bank account, gathering interest while they wait for law enforcement to knock on their door.
They aren't just stuffing the digital cash into a digital mattress somewhere.
Far from it. The moment your money hits their initial receiving account, which is often called a drop account.
A drop account, okay.
Right. An automated script is triggered.
Yeah.
That script immediately bounces the funds. The money is fractionated.
Fractionated, like chopped up.
Exactly. $1,000 might be split into 50 different $20 transactions, pushed across a dozen different banks, moved into various digital wallets,
Oh, man.
and perhaps routed through a cryptocurrency exchange where it's converted into an untraceable privacy coin.
So it is essentially hyper-speed money laundering.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like a physical bank robbery where the getaway car isn't driving down a physical highway. It's teleporting at the speed of light.
That's a great way to put it.
If you don't put up the roadblocks instantly, they haven't just driven to the next town. They've crossed 3 state lines, swapped license plates, repainted the car, and changed vehicles 5 times.
That analogy perfectly illustrates the breakdown of physical distance. In the real world, a getaway car has to contend with traffic lights, right?
Yeah?
Speed limits, physical geography.
Yeah, cops can put up spike strips.
Exactly. Police can calculate how far a car could possibly travel in 10 minutes and draw a perimeter on a map. But in the digital financial system, geography is an illusion. A transfer from a bank in Mumbai to a wallet in Delhi or a server in Eastern Europe takes the exact same fraction of a second as handing a dollar bill to the person sitting next to you.
The money is teleporting.
Yes. Therefore, the only perimeter you can possibly establish is one based strictly on time, not space.
Which means my reaction speed is the only defense I have.
The only one.
I have to beat the automated scripts to the next jump. So if speed is the only way to stop this teleporting getaway car, let's talk tactics.
Let's do it.
What is the absolute first action you must take the second you feel that stomach-dropping realization? You know, you get the SMS notification for a transfer you didn't authorize, or the person selling you those concert tickets suddenly blocks you.
Right.
What is the immediate move?
This brings us to the triage phase, the very first line of defense. In India, according to the guide, the absolute first step is dialing 1930.
Just 4 digits, 1930.
Yep, 1930.
We need to spend some time here because I want to understand what makes this number different from just, calling your local police precinct.
Well, the 1930 helpline is India's national cybercrime emergency number. It's crucial to understand the architecture behind it.
Okay.
This is not a standard call center where someone just takes a polite message. It's managed directly by the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, which operates under the Ministry of Home Affairs.
But why does that bureaucratic backing matter to the person panicking on their couch?
Because operating under the Ministry of Home Affairs gives the system federal weight. It has direct programmatic integration with the national financial infrastructure.
So it cuts through the red tape.
Exactly. It bypasses local jurisdictions. If you are scammed in one state but the money is routed to a bank in another, local police often face massive jurisdictional hurdles.
They have to call the other state, get permissions.
Which wastes that golden hour. The 1930 system acts as a centralized federal node designed specifically for extreme crisis management.
Okay, so our research outlines a variety of triggers for when to dial this number. It specifically highlights unauthorized bank transfers, card fraud, and issues involving UPI. Now, for anyone listening who isn't familiar with the regional tech, UPI stands for Unified Payments Interface. It's India's real-time mobile payment system.
And it's ubiquitous there.
Yeah, it allows instant money transfers between bank accounts using just a mobile phone. It is incredibly efficient, which also makes it incredibly dangerous if compromised.
Very true.
The guidelines also mention calling 1930 for OLX scams, OLX being a massive peer-to-peer marketplace similar to Craigslist, as well as job scams and OTP frauds.
Let's examine that list because it is remarkably broad. It covers hard technical breaches like someone brute forcing your password and draining your account. But it equally prioritizes social engineering frauds.
Social engineering being cases where the victim is psychologically manipulated into willingly handing over the money.
Yes. For example, an OTP fraud.
Oh, those are awful.
They really are. OTP is a one-time password. A scammer might call you pretending to be your bank manager, claiming your account is about to be suspended.
And they sound so professional.
Oh, highly professional. They create a massive sense of false urgency. They tell you a code has been sent to your phone to verify your identity, and they demand you read it back to them.
But wait, why did you get the code?
Because, in reality, they are trying to log into your account right then and there on their end and the system just sent you the security key.
Oh, wow.
In your panic, you read them the code, and they are in.
And the crucial takeaway here is that the system does not judge how you lost the money.
Not at all.
If you willingly transferred the funds because you thought you were paying a legitimate customs fee for a fake package, or if a hacker stole it silently, the response is the exact same. Dial 1930.
Exactly.
The mechanism of the theft is secondary to the fact that a financial crime is currently in progress.
Precisely. The goal is to lower the cognitive load on the victim. When people realize they've been tricked, shame often sets in.
They feel stupid.
Right. They hesitate. They wonder if it is a real crime because they participated in the transfer. The protocol is clear. Abandon the shame. If money was moved fraudulently, dial the number.
So let's walk through the actual phone call, because having a script in your head reduces that panic.
Good idea.
You dial 1930, you select your language, you get an operator on the line. What exactly are they going to ask for and why?
You must have specific data ready before they even answer. They will ask for your basic identity details, of course.
Sure.
But the critical intelligence they require immediately includes the exact transaction amount, the destination account or UPI ID, and the date and exact time of the transaction, down to the minute.
Wait, I want to push back on that last point. Why the exact minute?
What do you mean?
If I say, hey, it happened this morning around 10:30, isn't that enough for a computer to search?
Around 10:30 is an eternity in server time. Remember the teleporting getaway car?
Right.
A major financial institution processes tens of thousands of transactions every single second. The operator is not looking for a physical bag of cash.
They're looking for code.
Yes, they're looking for a highly specific data packet moving through a massive, chaotic network. The exact timestamp acts as a unique identifier.
Okay, I see.
It allows the automated systems to filter out millions of irrelevant transactions and isolate your specific funds.
That makes a lot of sense. You are essentially giving them the exact frame of the security footage to look at.
Exactly.
You also need to provide any intel you have on the attacker, the phone number they called from, the fake username they used. But let's talk about the back end.
The back end is fascinating.
Right. What happens after I give this operator my timeline and the numbers? Because my experience with government hotlines is that they file a report and maybe you get an email 3 weeks later saying the case is closed due to lack of evidence.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, here is where the architecture of the 1930 system proves its worth. The operator is not acting as a secretary. They're acting as a tactical launch pad.
A tactical launch pad. I like that.
When they log your complaint into the system, it triggers an immediate automated alert that shoots directly into the internal systems of the involved financial institutions.
Okay.
It generates a bank freeze request.
Wait, really? They can freeze an account just based on a phone call, without a judge?
Yes, this is a massive circumvention of traditional bureaucratic friction, designed specifically for this golden window.
Because historically, freezing a bank account required a formal police report, a physical visit to a branch manager, and often a court order.
And by the time you do all that,
The scammer would be laughing on a beach by the time the paperwork cleared.
exactly. The 1930s system integrates law enforcement directly with the banks via a unified portal.
Oh, that's smart.
The alert hits the destination bank, and the bank throws an emergency brake on that specific transaction or freezes the receiving account entirely to prevent the money from hopping to the next layer.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't a customer service complaint line where you wait 3 to 5 business days for a reply. This is a tactical strike to freeze the fraudster's account.
That's the perfect way to phrase it.
You provide the coordinates, and the system attempts to intercept the missile midair. But the literature makes a very careful distinction here.
Yes, it does.
It says the authorities try to freeze the account, and that recovery chances increase if reported quickly. It is not a guarantee.
It is never a guarantee. If the automated scripts have already moved your money into an offshore cryptocurrency exchange, the Indian banking system's freeze request hits a dead end.
Because it's outside their jurisdiction.
Right. That is why the 1 to 2 hour window is so critical. You are racing against the complexity of the laundering process.
Okay, so the 1930 call acts as a tourniquet. It cuts off the immediate bleeding.
Right.
But a tourniquet is not a cure. It's triage. You still need surgery. You still need a formal legal investigation. Freezing an account isn't a permanent legal fix, right? It just holds the money in limbo.
Exactly.
How do you move from emergency triage to a formal investigation to legally compel the return of the funds?
That transitions us to the secondary phase of the protocol,
Uh,
establishing the official legal record. This requires navigating the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal.
the portal. The URL is cybercrime.gov.in. I imagine this is where things get heavily bureaucratic.
It is the central formal repository for all cyber complaints in the nation. While 1930 is the emergency dispatch, the portal is the detective bureau.
Okay.
And analyzing how this portal functions gives us fascinating insight into the government's triage matrix.
How so?
The platform categorizes crimes into several distinct buckets: financial fraud, social media crimes, online harassment, identity theft, and child exploitation.
Our research notes some very specific tags attached to those categories.
Yes.
Financial fraud is explicitly labeled as fast track, while child exploitation is labeled as priority cases. What does this tell us about the back-end operations?
It reveals a highly structured workflow priority on the government's end. Just as an emergency room doctor will bypass a broken arm to treat a gunshot wound, the digital portal prioritizes based on immediate volatility and severe human harm.
That makes total sense.
Financial fraud requires the fast-track designation because of the degrading nature of the evidence and the rapid movement of the funds.
Because if they wait, the money is gone.
Right. If they do not fast-track financial complaints, the jurisdictional and technical trail goes cold. Child exploitation requires priority status because there is an active, ongoing threat to human life and safety.
Let's walk through the actual user experience of filing this complaint. And I want to frame this with real empathy for you, the listener.
It's important to remember the human element.
Definitely. Because if you're ever forced to visit this portal, you are likely having one of the worst days of your life.
Absolutely.
Your heart rate is elevated. You might be furious or deeply ashamed. The psychological friction of navigating government drop-down menus while in a state of sheer panic is immense.
The cognitive hurdle cannot be overstated. When the human body is flooded with cortisol and adrenaline, complex reading comprehension and fine motor skills degrade.
You literally can't think straight.
Right. Your biological hardware is preparing you to sprint away from a predator or engage in physical combat. Instead, modern society demands that you sit perfectly still, read small text, and recall complex chronological details.
Which is exactly why mentally rehearsing this process now, while you are calm and safe, is so powerful. It builds a cognitive map.
A roadmap for the panic.
So let's build the map. You go to the website, you hit Report Cybercrime. You select your category financial fraud to get on that fast track.
Right.
Then you hit the login wall. The system requires you to log in using your mobile number and an OTP.
Yes.
I find this interesting. Why force a victim to verify their phone number just to report a crime?
It serves dual purposes. Technically, it is an anti-DDoS measure.
Let's explain DDoS really quick.
Right, a distributed denial-of-service attack. If the portal allowed anonymous submissions, attackers could write scripts to flood the system with millions of fake reports.
Essentially crashing the national infrastructure.
Exactly. Crashing the servers and masking their own crimes in the noise.
A smokescreen.
Precisely. The second reason is legal accountability. By requiring an OTP sent to a verified mobile network, the system binds the complaint to a verifiable citizen. It deters false reporting and provides investigators with a concrete point of contact.
Okay, so once you pass the verification, you are faced with the incident report. You need your details, the incident description, and the date and time.
In the platform field.
Right. There is a specific field that asks for the platform used. It wants to know if this happened on WhatsApp, Instagram, Telegram, or a specific banking app.
This is a crucial data point.
Why does the platform matter to the police? A theft is a theft, right?
A theft is a theft, but the vector of attack dictates the defense. Law enforcement uses this portal to aggregate massive data sets and run pattern recognition.
Okay, so they're looking for trends.
Exactly. If the coordination center suddenly sees a 500% spike in complaints originating from Telegram over a 48-hour period, they can isolate a new coordinated scam campaign.
Oh, wow.
They can then liaise directly with Telegram security teams to shut down the offending channels or issue public warnings. Your individual report acts as a sensor in a national early warning system.
That's actually really cool. You also input whatever suspect details you have, usernames, fake names, emails, you submit it, and you get an acknowledgement number.
But we skipped over a step in the middle of that form.
Yes, we did.
A step that our research literally screams at us about.
It labels this phase as the most important action in all caps.
Because without it, the entire legal apparatus crumbles.
Yay, really? The whole thing?
The whole thing. You can submit the most articulate, compelling narrative description of the crime in the world. You can tell a heartbreaking story. But if you do not upload the digital proof to back it up, the authorities are paralyzed.
They can't act on just a story.
Exactly. They cannot legally execute warrants or compel banks based solely on your typed narrative.
Which leads us to the most critical mindset shift of this entire deep dive, becoming your own crime scene investigator.
Cue the CSI music.
Right. The golden rule established here is preserve everything before deleting anything. I want to explore why this is so difficult for people to actually do.
It goes against our instincts.
Let's use a physical analogy. Imagine your home is burglarized. Someone kicks in the back door, crashes your living room, and steals your valuables. Your absolute first instinct would never be to grab a bottle of bleach and start scrubbing the countertops or vacuuming the rug before the cops arrive.
Of course not. Every adult understands the concept of a physical crime scene. You know you would be destroying footprints, DNA, and fiber evidence.
Right.
You force yourself to leave the mess exactly as it is, no matter how violated it makes you feel.
But digitally, scrubbing the scene is our immediate, intuitive reaction.
It really is.
When we realize we have been scammed, a profound sense of violation sets in. Looking at the chat history where we were manipulated makes us feel sick. Seeing the fake website on our browser makes us angry.
We want it gone.
Our visceral psychological defense mechanism is to delete the scammer's messages, close the tabs, and block the contact. We want to remove the source of the trauma from our immediate environment.
It is digital sanitization as a trauma response. But by giving in to that urge, you are actively vacuuming the digital crime scene.
You're wiping away the fingerprints.
You are aiding and abetting the attacker's escape. You have to fight your own psychology.
So, what does this all mean? To help us fight that psychology, the framework systematically breaks down the 4 pillars of evidence you must secure before your finger goes anywhere near the delete button.
Let's dissect each pillar.
The first is communication proof.
This establishes the narrative architecture of the deception. It answers the question, how did they convince you to part with your assets?
Okay.
This includes chat screenshots from WhatsApp or Telegram, SMS histories, email threads, and call logs. It is the script of the crime. Investigators need to see the exact language used to coerce you.
The second pillar is financial proof. This is the paper trail. Bank statements, UPI transaction IDs, payment receipts, and screenshots of your digital wallet showing the zero balance.
Financial proof grounds the narrative in concrete reality. A chat log proves someone lied to you, but a transaction ID proves that lie resulted in a quantifiable loss.
It connects the lie to the money.
Yes. It provides the authorities with the exact routing numbers, destination accounts, and the vital timestamps necessary to subpoena the receiving institutions.
The third pillar is technical evidence. This is where I think people get overwhelmed.
Sounds intimidating.
The guidelines mention capturing the actual fraud website URL, taking screenshots of the web pages, and noting specific app names or links if the scammer made you download something. Let's demystify this.
Sure.
If I realize the website I'm looking at is a fake version of my bank, why does a screenshot of a fake site help? Isn't it just a useless picture?
It is far from useless. The architecture of a fake website is essentially a digital fingerprint left behind by the syndicate. The URL, the specific string of text in the address bar, is paramount.
Oh, why the URL?
Scammers utilize a technique called domain spoofing. They might register securelogin-hdfc-bank.com instead of the legitimate address. That specific string is the trap.
Right.
Furthermore, the authorities can take that URL and run lookups to see which domain registrar sold it, which hosting provider is keeping the site online, and what IP address it points to.
So the fake website is actually a map leading back to the infrastructure they rented to commit the crime.
Exactly. And because hosting providers will shut these sites down quickly once they are flagged, that technical evidence is highly ephemeral. You must capture it before the site goes dark.
The final pillar is identity clues. Phone numbers, email addresses, social media profiles, and QR codes. Even if we assume the scammer is using a fake name and a burner phone, why is this useful?
Because scammers are humans, and humans are lazy.
Very true.
They often reuse infrastructure. A burner phone number used to scam you today might have been used in a different scam 6 months ago.
So it connects cases.
By logging that identity clue into the national portal, you give investigators a thread to connect multiple disparate crimes, potentially elevating the investigation to a larger task force.
Now, knowing what to collect is only the first step. Our research goes to great lengths to emphasize how to collect it properly.
The method matters immensely.
A sloppy evidence collection is just as disastrous as no evidence at all. Let's go through the proper methodology from the text.
Walk us through it.
The first rule, take clear screenshots. The second rule, download original files like PDF receipts and emails, rather than just screenshotting them.
Let's pause here. Why is a downloaded PDF fundamentally better than a high-resolution screenshot of that same PDF?
It comes down to the concept of metadata and the legal chain of custody.
Metadata?
Yes, a screenshot is a flat, two-dimensional picture of data. It shows what was on your screen. The original PDF file is the data.
Okay, I think I follow.
Embedded invisibly within that PDF file is a wealth of metadata. The software used to create it, the exact timestamp of its creation, the author tags, and potentially the digital signature of the issuing institution.
A screenshot strips all that invisible context away.
Precisely. If a case goes to court, a defense attorney can easily argue that a screenshot could be manipulated in Photoshop. It is much more difficult to forge the embedded cryptographic metadata of an original file.
Rule 3. Ensure timestamps are visible on everything. If a screenshot of a text message doesn't show the time at the top of the screen, it loses its chronological context.
Which is fatal to the time battle. Rule 4. Organize the evidence. The guide explicitly advises creating specific folders on your device. A folder for chats, one for transactions, one for screenshots.
This might sound pedantic, but consider the human element of the investigation.
How so?
A single cybercrime detective might be handling 50 cases simultaneously. If you submit a massive, unorganized zip file containing 70 randomly named screenshots, it creates a massive administrative burden. It slows everything down.
And making them do the filing.
Right. If you submit neatly categorized folders, you empower the investigator to act on your intelligence immediately.
Rule 5. Write down a chronological timeline of events while it is fresh in your mind. At 10:00 a.m., I received an SMS. At 10:04, I clicked the link. At 10:07, my screen went black.
Human memory under the influence of adrenaline is notoriously unreliable. Your brain will start to shuffle the sequence of events within hours. Anchoring the timeline and writing locks the narrative into place before degradation occurs.
And finally, Rule 6, and this is a strict technical warning. Do not edit or crop heavily. Keep original data.
This is huge.
This transitions us into a really fascinating area of digital forensics. We are moving from what you must do to what you absolutely must avoid doing.
This is where we encounter the don'ts of cybercrime response. And the prohibition against cropping screenshots is one of the most frequently violated rules by victims.
I understand the temptation perfectly. If I am submitting a screenshot of a specific threatening text message, I naturally want to crop out the rest of my screen.
You want to make it look clean.
Yeah, I don't want the police seeing my wallpaper or noticing that I have 40 unread emails or seeing what other apps I have open. I want to isolate the evidence and make it neat. Why is that a critical error? Why do investigators care about my battery percentage?
This raises an important question about proving authenticity in an era of deepfakes and manipulation.
Okay.
When you heavily crop an image to isolate a text bubble, you are intentionally destroying ambient context. Investigators absolutely care about your battery percentage, your cellular network strength indicator, the Wi-Fi icon, and the clock at the top of your screen.
Wait, really? How does my Wi-Fi icon prove a crime?
It proves that the image was captured from a living operating device in real time.
Oh.
There are dozens of apps designed to generate fake chat interfaces. Scammers use them to create fake testimonials. If you submit a tightly cropped image of a text bubble, there is no ambient proof that it wasn't generated by one of those apps.
So they might think I faked it.
Exactly. But a full-screen, unedited screenshot captures the unique, momentary state of your entire device architecture, the battery draining, the signal fluctuating. It provides ambient verification that makes the evidence far more robust against cross-examination.
That is utterly fascinating. Keep the mess. Don't try to make the evidence pretty. Make it accurate.
Make it accurate, yes.
Let's look at another pro tip from the research. It advises that if you realize a fraud is actively ongoing, meaning you are currently on the phone with the scammer or you are watching the malicious pop-ups happen, you should immediately start a screen recording rather than just taking static screenshots.
Screen recording is the gold standard for dynamic evidence. Cybercrime is rarely a static event. It involves motion.
Okay, what kind of motion?
A screen recording captures the speed at which a fraudulent website redirects you through various servers. It captures the exact sequence of clicks you were coerced into making.
So it shows the whole process.
Right. It captures pop-ups that might flash and disappear in a second. It provides investigators with a literal video replay of the crime mechanics, which is infinitely more valuable than a series of disjointed still images.
And then we reach the final warning. The most psychologically difficult don't in the entire manual.
This one is tough.
It is written as an absolute directive. Do not engage further with the attacker.
This directive is where best practices violently clash with human nature.
They truly do. Because put yourself in the victim's shoes. You have just realized you were swindled out of $500 by someone you were chatting with on Telegram for an hour.
The realization hits.
You feel foolish, you feel violated, and you feel utterly powerless. The immediate burning urge is to reclaim some modicum of power.
And how do people usually try to reclaim that power?
By lashing out. You want to text them back and demand your money. You want to threaten them with the police. You want to call them names.
Yep.
Or, perhaps worse, you think you are clever and you try to string them along, play double agent, or hack them back. You want the last word.
It is a completely understandable emotional response, but strategically, it is the most destructive action you can take. The protocol absolutely forbids engagement for a vital tactical reason.
Let's test that logic. What is the actual harm in sending a message saying, I know you are a scammer and I have just called 1930?
The harm is that you are ringing the alarm bell inside the burglar's ear.
Oh.
You are announcing that the deception has failed and the clock has officially started.
I'm alerting the enemy.
Exactly. Consider the scammer's operational security. As long as they believe you are oblivious, that you still think the package is delayed or the bank account is just temporarily locked, they operate with a false sense of security.
So they might get sloppy.
They might leave their fraudulent website online to catch a few more victims. They might leave the drop account open to pool more funds before laundering them. But the second you tell them, you trigger their burn protocol.
Burn protocols.
They will instantly initiate emergency evasion. They will delete their WhatsApp or Telegram accounts, which often wipes the chat history from your phone as well if you haven't backed it up.
Destroying the evidence.
Yes. They will pull the plug on the spoof servers. They will rapidly initiate the automated scripts to move the money out of the initial drop account. By confronting them, you are literally telling them to start vacuuming their side of the crime scene.
I see the logic. It's not about being polite. It's about maintaining operational surprise. And the research also implies a secondary danger to engagement retaliation.
Absolutely. You are dealing with criminals who possess malicious technical capabilities. If they have your phone number or email, and they know you are hostile and actively reporting them, they can target you.
What can they do?
They could bombard you with malicious links, attempt to initiate password resets on your known accounts to lock you out, or deploy secondary harassment tactics. You gain absolutely nothing by sending an angry text message, and you risk destroying the entire investigation.
So the strategy is to play dead.
Play dead. Cut the emotional cord. The second you realize it is a scam, you stop communicating entirely.
Just silence?
You let them think you are still a gullible, compliant target, and quietly, rapidly, you mobilize the federal response behind their back. Dial 1930. Collect the evidence.
Playing dead while quietly arming the defenses? It is a brilliant way to conceptualize it. We have covered an immense amount of granular detail today.
We really have.
We've talked about the mechanics of money laundering, the exact minute required by the 1930 system, the importance of battery percentage and screenshots, and the psychology of playing dead. In a crisis, nobody is going to remember 20 paragraphs of analysis.
Which is precisely why crisis management relies on synthesis. You need a simple, internalized framework that your brain can access when the cortisol is spiking.
Our source material provides exactly that synthesis. It boils everything down to a 5-step quick action checklist. Let's review these steps and analyze the strategic rhythm behind them.
Let's do it.
Step 1, call 1930 immediately. Step 2, file a complaint on the cybercrime portal. Step 3, collect and preserve all evidence. Step 4, inform your bank. Step 5, change passwords and secure your accounts.
If you look closely at the architecture of that list, it is divided into 2 distinct strategic phases. Steps 1 through 3, calling 1930, using the portal, and gathering evidence are purely offensive maneuvers.
Offensive meaning you are projecting force outward. You are attempting to strike the attacker and freeze the assets.
Yes. You are fighting the time battle. You are trying to intercept the teleporting getaway car. But steps 4 and 5, informing your bank regarding new cards and changing your passwords across the board, these are defensive maneuvers.
We've spent this whole time trying to catch the horse that bolted, but we can't forget to finally lock the barn door.
That is the blind spot the protocol is trying to eliminate. Let's use a network security analogy. Imagine a corporate server room. A hacker breaches the firewall and steals a hard drive full of data.
Okay.
Steps 1 through 3 are the equivalent of sending security guards out the front door to chase the hacker down the street. But step 5 is realizing the hacker left a back door open in the firewall. If you don't patch the firewall and reset the server passwords, it doesn't matter if you catch the first hacker. The second attacker will just walk right in.
The secondary breach. If a scammer tricked you into giving up an OTP or a password, they don't just use it once.
Not at all.
While you were on the phone with 1930 panicking about a stolen $500, their automated scripts might be quietly trying that same password on your email account, your social media, and your other banking apps.
Therefore, changing your passwords and securing the perimeter is the vital final step to quarantine the infection. You must move from a state of chaotic crisis response back into a state of sustained, hardened security. You lock the system down so the bleeding cannot restart.
Okay. We have dismantled this protocol piece by piece. Let's bring it all back together. What is the paramount lesson, the single thread connecting every instruction we have discussed today?
The inescapable reality that cybercrime is a time battle. Delay equals loss.
Delay equals loss.
Every single minute that ticks by between the fraudulent transaction occurring and you initiating the 1930 protocol directly mathematically decreases the probability of recovery. The attacker relies on your panic, your shame, and your hesitation to buy them the time they need to disappear.
It is a race where the gun has already gone off before you even knew you were running. You are trying to drop the blast doors before the smoke clears.
And grappling with that reality leaves us with a deeper, perhaps more philosophical takeaway regarding the architecture of our modern lives. The protocols we have studied today highlight a massive systemic contradiction in how we have built our financial technology.
What kind of contradiction?
Consider the systems you use every single day. We celebrate frictionless technology.
Yeah, everything is so easy now.
Exactly. The ability to split a dinner bill with a friend in 1 second using an app. The ability to tap your smartwatch on a terminal to buy a coffee. The ability to wire funds across the globe with a thumbprint. The exact same frictionless instant transfer architecture that provides you with ultimate convenience is the exact same mechanism that makes cybercrime this brutal, unforgiving time battle.
We demanded convenience, so the tech companies removed all the friction.
Exactly. Look at history. The banking system used to be defined by immense friction. Physical signatures, multi-day waiting periods, clearinghouses, physical branch visits.
Which was so annoying.
Right, that friction was incredibly annoying when you wanted to access your own money quickly. But we forget that the friction also acted as a natural systemic safety net against theft. It bought you time. It gave you a 48-hour window to realize a check was forged and stop the payment.
The friction was the security.
We have systematically dismantled that friction in the name of instant gratification. We built a machine that operates at the speed of light. And the terrifying cost of that instant gratification is that the machine will no longer slow down the scammer for you.
The system has no brakes.
Precisely. Because the system is designed to be utterly frictionless, our only defense mechanism now relies entirely on us matching the speed of the machines. The network will not pump the brakes to see if you really meant to send your life savings to a stranger. It will just execute the command. Therefore, if a crisis occurs, you have to be faster than the automated script. You have to be the friction.
You have to be the friction. That is a sobering realization, but it is also an incredibly empowering way to view your role in the digital landscape. You are not a helpless passenger. You are the ultimate manual safeguard of your own digital life.
Well said.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Our mission today was to equip you with the mental framework and the tactical knowledge to become a digital first responder. Armed with the realities of the time battle, the mechanics of the 1930s system, the discipline to preserve the digital crime scene, and the understanding that you must act as the friction, you are now prepared. Save these protocols in your mind. Mentally rehearse them. Share this knowledge with your friends and family, especially those who might not understand the sheer speed of these threats. Stay relentlessly curious, stay vigilant, and stay safe out there.